Okay, so we're diving deep today into a topic that I find really fascinating. And this material you sent over is pretty wild. I mean, that YouTube video, right? It's funny, but it also brings up this whole debate,
Yeah.
evolution versus creationism.
Yeah.
Are we really going to find like all those missing links?
Well, that's a big question. And the video, it kind of makes fun of the whole thing. But you're right. It does touch on some pretty serious scientific ideas.
Right, right. So let's break it down. Right, what's the core conflict we see playing out in this video?
I think the core conflict is the debate. That classic debate between, on one hand, you have a scientist, a professor who's advocating for evolution, and then on the other hand, you have these characters who are more aligned with creationism.
Right, and they're really playing up the stereotypes, aren't they?
Definitely. Especially when they bring up these so-called missing links.
Which is where things get really interesting.
Exactly, because the idea of a missing link is, well, it's often really misunderstood. I mean, it's not like we're searching for one single fossil that's going to prove everything, right?
Yeah, so it's not like finding some half ape, half human skeleton that's gonna like solve the whole puzzle.
Not at all. It's way more nuanced. Think of it more like, we have this huge, massive jigsaw puzzle, and we're missing some pieces. And every new fossil we find, it adds a piece to that puzzle. So it helps us kind of like see the bigger picture. How species have changed over millions of years.
Okay, that makes sense. So like the video throws out some real names, right? Like Homo erectus, Homo habilis, and Australopithecus africanus. Can you tell us more about them? Like, where do these guys fit in?
Yeah, definitely. Those are some of the big players, right? And they're super important in understanding our own lineage, like Homo erectus. Well, we've actually found Homo erectus fossils not only in Africa, but also in Asia and Europe.
Wow, that's a big deal, right?
It is. It means they were, the first hominids to really migrate out of Africa. And that's a huge, huge milestone in human evolution.
I mean, just to think about that journey, right?
Yeah.
Amazing.
It is. And by studying, their skeletal structure, their tools, and the environments they lived in, it kind of starts to tell us, how they adapted, how they spread across the globe.
Okay. And then the video brings in this fictional character, right? Homo Farnsworth.
Right.
It's hilarious, but it also kind of makes a point, right?
It satirizes the idea that, one fossil, no matter how strange or unique, is going to completely overturn, everything we know about evolution.
Yeah.
Science, it's not about that. It's about constantly evaluating evidence, right?
Yeah.
New findings come up and they refine our knowledge. So we don't expect to find, one fossil that's going to have all the answers. It's more like it contributes to the conversation.
Right. And the other side of the coin, right? The video doesn't shy away from poking fun at creationism.
Right.
The idea that the Earth is only 7,000 years old and everything was just created as is. Is there any scientific backing for that view?
Well, while some people definitely hold those beliefs very, very strongly, the scientific evidence, it overwhelmingly points to an Earth that's billions of years old. I mean, we can determine the age of rocks and fossils using radiometric dating, right?
Right.
Which measures the decay of radioactive isotopes. And that data consistently shows that the Earth is far, far older than 7,000 years.
Okay, so billions of years old.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, what other evidence supports evolution?
Well, there's DNA analysis. It's really powerful, right? By comparing the DNA of different species, we can actually trace their evolutionary relationships, right?
Right.
So we can see how they're connected. Exactly. We can see how they've diverged from common ancestors over time. And this genetic evidence, it aligns really well with the fossil record. So that provides a really strong confirmation, of those evolutionary processes.
Okay, so DNA, fossils. What about the argument that some people make,
Right.
like that life is just too complex, like it couldn't have just, happened randomly?
Yeah, that's where understanding natural selection is really, really key, because it's not about random chance, right? It's about these gradual changes, these tiny, tiny changes that accumulate over time.
And those changes, they either help a species survive, or they don't.
Exactly. The changes that are, beneficial for survival and reproduction, they're more likely to be passed on. And so, over millions and millions of years, this process, it can lead to these incredibly complex and diverse life forms that we see all around us.
Wow. It's incredible to think about the scale of it all, the time, the complexity, and it's clear, I mean, from our conversation that you're really passionate about this.
I am. I am. I mean, it's such a fascinating field, and I think the most important thing to remember is that science is a process, right? It's a process of discovery. We may never find every single fossil. We may never have every single answer, but that's what makes it so exciting.
It's like we're piecing together a story bit by bit.
Exactly. We're piecing together the story of life on Earth,
Yeah.
and we're always open to new discoveries.
That's a great way to put it, and it makes me think. Given how much time we're talking about, and how hard it is for fossils to even form, what are the chances that we'll ever find all the quote unquote missing links? And if we don't, does that mean evolution is less valid? I don't know. It's a lot to think about. Thanks for diving deep with us today.
You got it. Thanks for having me.
It's been great, and for everyone listening, thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and who knows what we'll uncover next time.